Hello again. My last video got stopped with a phone call from somebody at school that needed to open up the door. Anyway, here we go. We have dimes and we have quarters, and we know there's 24 of them. There's 24 coins. Now we need a second equation. Whenever we're solving word problems with two variables, we have to have a second equation. Well, what else do we know? We know the total value of the dimes and the total value of the quarters is $3.60. So we can make an equation from that. 10D plus 25Q equals 360. Okay, now we have our two equations, and you learned yesterday that you can solve systems of equations by substitution. So you can isolate one variable in the easiest equation. The easiest equation is this one because we don't have to deal with coefficients. So I think I'm going to isolate D. I'm going to isolate D. So that would mean D is 24 minus Q. All right. Now I'm going to put a parenthesis around it because the quantity D is this quantity. We want to make sure that's a quantity. You know how important parentheses are. All right, now I'm going to substitute in the second equation this D. So I'm going to take the 24 minus Q, and I'm going to substitute it into the second equation. Sub for D. Okay, so that means it's 10 times the quantity, 24 minus Q. So I took this, put it into there. So here that is. I leave plus 25Q the same, equals 360. Now what you're going to do is solve this equation just like you solve every equation, but you're solving for Q. And when you distribute the 10, we get 240 minus 10Q plus 25Q equals 360. So we're going to keep going and solving for Q. I'll give you a minute to get that written down. By the way, I will send pictures of these pages. That might be the easiest. I'll send pictures as well in case you need to go back. Okay, now we have 240 plus 15Q equals 360. Subtract 240 from both sides. 15Q equals 120. And we divide both sides by 15, and we're going to use calculators because we just need to now. We've got a lot to do. Q equals 8. Okay, so far all I know is that Q equals 8. Now, I need to know what D is. So to find out what D is, all right, to find D, we're going to sub Q equals 8 in either equation. Now, this is the easiest equation. You could substitute Q equals 8 in either of them, but this is the easiest one. So Simple Simon, you solve for D. You put the 8 in for the Q. D plus 8 equals 24. Subtract 8 from both sides. D equals 16. Okay, and we can mental check in both equations. But now we know the solution to the system, if this was a system. And by the way, we always go alphabetical order. You know, X, Y, we always know X, Y. We have D and Q, so D is going to go first. So this is the solution to the system, 16, 8, which means 16 dimes, 8 quarters. We should check, check, double check. And we know 16 dimes is $1.60. 8 quarters is not, okay, $1.60. 8 quarters is $2. Oh, I should have had a V8. Definitely needed a V8. Okay, 3.60. So that's $3.60. Okay, there we go. That's the first example. Okay, ready for... Oh, I just want to show you. If we had done that problem with one variable, you can still do it with one variable, but you need to see the benefit of doing two variables. We would have gotten the same answer, but we see here we would have said 24 minus x. Okay, let's take a look at page 424, number 12. Okay, in your book, in your textbook, please go to 424, number 12, and read the problem carefully. You got to have your book open to read the problem carefully. I can tell those people who don't have their book open, so open it up. All right, see, I have vision and eyes everywhere. Okay, so we're looking at number 12, and we can see that we need to find just two numbers. We're just looking for two numbers, so we're going to get a system, two variables, and two equations. All right, let's let the first number equal x. Aren't you happy there's not a chart on this one? We're going to let the second number be y. You can choose any variable, but where numbers x and y seem pretty natural to do. All right, we need two equations. What do we know? We know that the sum of the two numbers is 60. So our first equation, x plus y, is 60. The first number plus the second number equals 60. That seems simple enough. Now, what do we know about the second one? It tells us that it says one number is 12 more than half another number. Okay, and it doesn't matter whether we use x or y. So I'm going to say the one number y is half the other number plus 12, or 12 more than half the other number. One number is 12 more than half the other. Okay, that seems easy. All right, what's nice about this is we already have y isolated. So remember, the first step in solving a system with substitution is isolating one of the variables in either equation. I'm going to choose this because y is already isolated. On your own, you may want to try using the other one, but this is what I'm going to suggest. And then, like I said, choose x or y, but I like y. Okay, so we know that x plus y is 60. I'm going to take the value of y in the second equation and substitute it for y here. So x plus y equals 60. X plus, I'm substituting 1/2 x plus 12, and I got that from up here, equals 60. Oh, sorry about the fraction, but we have to kind of deal with it. So x plus 1/2 x is 1.5 x, or we can just say 3/2 x, and I know some of you will make it 1.5 x. Either way, we're going to get the same answer. I think that I could either fraction bust right here, or I can subtract 12 from both sides, and I get 3/2 x equals 48. And then I can fraction bust. And I get 3x equals 96. And divide both sides by 3, x is 32. So I now have what x is. To find y, I'm going to substitute x is 32 in one of the equations. Easiest equation to substitute it in is this one. So here we go. X is 32 is going in here. 32 plus y equals 60. Subtract 32 from both sides, and we get y is 28. And this is a good hint over here. You substitute x equals 32 in the easiest equation. You can always do it in the other one, and it doesn't, either one you'll get the correct answer, but we like to make it, Einstein tells us to make things as simple as possible, but no simpler. So because x is 32, y is 28, first number is 32, second number is 28, and you should check, double check. Okay, I guess we should do, let's do one that involves money. Go to page 422 and look at example 3. Example 3. And let's remember from last year that interest equals principal times rate times time. Remember, interest is a party. And remember, the time was in years. And this problem here, it's annual interest, so the time is 1, so we're not even going to use that in our equation. So if the time is 1 year, then interest equals principal times rate, because the t would just be a 1, so we want to kind of simplify it, then I equals PR. Okay, let's just remember that. Now when you look at the chart in the book, or actually, let me see. Yeah, when you look at the chart in the book, they have it principal times rate equals interest. Principal times rate equals interest, because that's an easier way to set up the chart. Okay, you've got the chart in front of you. Later, after I finish talking about it, you could copy the chart in your notes and see if you could do it, which I know you can. And we're also going to remember all the stuff about percent. If it's 4%, the decimal's 0.04. We're going to love decimal busting for these. Okay, let's get going. We're going to solve the system of equations. So, what do we know? We know that he invested stocks and bonds a total of $8,000. So a total of $8,000 was invested in stocks and bonds. And I'm going to let S equals, well, they've already done it for you, the S and the B. Okay. And then the second equation comes from the value of the total interest in the stocks, and the total interest in the bonds is $500. That's how much money he earned on his investments. So we got our two equations. And I think the easiest one, and I don't think you'll argue with me, I think you'll see it, is to take the first equation and isolate one of the variables. I think I'm going to, first of all, I decided to get rid of the decimals in the second equation because that's kind of yucky. I like decimal busting. Okay, so let's decimal bust it. And, that's so nice. It becomes 4s plus 7b equals 50,000. That's a little bit easier to look at and work with. Okay, now I'm going to isolate one variable in s plus b equals 8,000. And I decided to isolate b. So B would be 8,000 minus S. B is 8,000 minus S. So if I take this 8,000 minus S and substitute it there. Okay, so then we get 4s plus 7b equals 50,000. So here's equation 2. I'm going to take this 8,000 minus s and substitute it right here. So 4s plus 7. I took the 8,000 minus s from up here, substituted it there. 4s plus 7b, there's our b, is 50,000. we're going to solve for s. So I've got to do all that math. 4s plus 56,000 minus 7s equals that. Manipulate all the numbers, put the like terms together. You get 56,000 minus 3s equals 50,000. Uh-oh, that minus scares me, but I think we'll be okay because we're going to subtract 56,000 from both sides. Phew. This is going to be negative. Thank goodness, because we would be in deep doo-doo if it wasn't. Okay, so now we get minus 3s equals minus 6,000. Okay, now we'll be okay. We can get out of the tunnel. That's good, good, good. Divide both sides by negative 3. We get a positive 2,000 for s. Okay, now this tells us s was the amount of money he invested in stocks, so it's 2,000. Now we could just logically say, well, if the stocks were 2,000 and the total was 8,000, we know he did 6,000 in bonds. But let's actually solve it and see. Oh, what do you know? S plus B is 8,000. Solve for B and we get 6,000. So there's our answer. $2,000 in stocks, $6,000 in bonds. Okay, a lot to think about. And I'm going to want you to really do some thinking and looking at it. Okay, here's our assignment. In your textbook, page 423, and I will post this on the classwork today. I hope very soon. 423, number 3, 5, 7, 11. And then you have that worksheet, the worksheet that has the key, the answers in bold. And so do worksheet 9.3. It's two-sided, actually left and right, 157 to 158. And on that worksheet, do 2, 3, 6, and 7. Okay, when you're all done with that, press submit or select, not submit. It's what's it called? Mark as done. Mark as done. This really helps me. Okay, now the next thing is take a picture of page 423, number 5, number 11, page 158. That's the worksheet, page 158, number 6. Now, please, please take the picture and submit it on Google Classroom. Mr. Aliotti found a video that teaches how to submit on Google Classroom. As soon as I speak with him this morning, I'm going to find out how to post that so you can see it. Take care. I miss you, and hopefully it'll be easier for me to do a video another time. Ask me questions if you need to. Take care. I miss you.